How's it going, everyone? My name is Dak908, aka the Dig Duggan himself, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys all the differences and changes that are being brought over to Monster Hunter Generations from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Before we get into any changes, however, let's start at the very top with the release dates. Now, Monster Hunter Cross, which is the Japanese version of Monster Hunter Generations, was released in Japan on November 28th, 2015. Monster Hunter Generations, the game that we're hoping to get, will be coming this July 15th, 2016. Now that we got the release dates out of the way, let's talk about the four main monsters in which we will see, the four flagship monsters that represent the four main elements that you'll get to see in this game. First, we have Mitsune representing water, Gammoth representing ice, Astalos representing the thunder element, and last but not least, Glavenus representing fire. Now, in Generations, there's a grand total of 105 monsters. 71 of those monsters are the large monster we're accustomed to fighting, and 34 of the smaller monsters in which you can gather from materials. Now, out of the 71 monsters, there's only a grand total of 7 new monsters, 4 of which are the flagship monsters I just showed you a while ago, and the other 3 are the Great Makakao, Malfisto, and the Elder Dragon Ostogorora. Now, on top of those 7 new monsters, we have 12 other monsters that are known as deviants or variants, and they're kind of like subspecies, but then again kind of not. Those monsters included are the Crimson Helmet Azeros, Spearbreaker Daimyo Hirmatar, Snow Baron Lagambi, White Gale Narakuga, Black Flame King Rathalos, Dread Queen Raytheon, Rock Piercing Tetsukabra, Gold Thunder Prince Zenogre, Grimclaw Tigrix, Incinerating Blade Glavenus, Treasure-clad Yurigan, and One-Eyed Yongaruga. As for the other 52, I won't spoil it for you just yet. I mean, I'm giving you all this information as is. Don't want everything ruined for you, now do I? Moving away from the monsters, let's talk about the weapons. Now, it has changed exponentially, and I'm looking direct like the hunting styles, but when it really comes down to it, weapon upgrades, how you actually get your weapon to the point in which you need to get it to fight monsters, is what it's really all about. Now, the upgrading system has been changed exponentially. Now, it used to be you would take a weapon, let's say Iron Sword, and you would upgrade it and you go to Iron Sword Plus, and then it turn into something else. And this one is not necessarily the case. If you see what you're looking at right here on the screen, bear with me, even though it is in Japanese. I'm upgrading a weapon, which I'm going to call Stone Greatsword. And if you can look and see, it went to level 2, and now it is level 3, and so on and so forth. Now, when you upgrade your weapon, you can take the one weapon, keep it the same exact weapon, go all the way to the end of the game with it if you upgrade it. If you don't want to do that, you can actually upgrade that weapon enough times, and different options in which you can change this weapon into will show up, while still being available for you to upgrade all by itself. Take note that my weapon is now level 4, and I can actually upgrade to either of those weapons right there. I'm going to upgrade the weapon again, and my range of weapons to upgrade to will also increase. Another thing to note, sometimes when you upgrade your weapon, it will ask you, yo, would you like to use these materials to actually upgrade it, as well as materials in which you are using to upgrade your weapon. This is actually a newer mechanic. I like this one. It allows you to actually upgrade a weapon without fear of you using very, very rare materials to do so. It used to be you would have to normally use a gem and other really hard to get materials to upgrade a weapon. Now that's not so much the case. This gives people a breather. Armor upgrading has not really changed. The only one thing I will note though is that when you make deviant armor sets, they require a ticket and monster parts in order to actually upgrade. Sort of reminiscent to where the weapons upgrade though. But fear not, if you're still just using standard armor, much like we've been using for years and years already, all that is really required is an armor sphere of the required level and rank. Other than that, there are no true changes to the armor upgrading. It's very much the same as what you've all known and loved for years. The main thing that sets apart Monster Hunter Generations from 4 Ultimate is without a doubt the hunting styles. Now, the hunting styles is a new mechanic implemented in Generations, and I'll admit they add a bit of flair to the game. Now, there are 4 hunting styles. Each one allows you to tackle different monsters from a different angle, but for the most part, let's start from the top. Now we have the guild style. The guild hunting style is pretty much supposed to be the same thing you've been playing with forever. It is a hunting style that has not changed anything exponentially for any particular weapon. Asterisk, the lance. The lance has changed quite a bit, but for the most part, every other weapon is exactly the same as they used to play. Up next is the striker style. Now, Striker is a very interesting style. It is a style that is geared directly for people who want to do a lot of damage, being such that this is the only style that allows you to equip 3 Hunter arts. On top of that, this style actually allows certain weapons to actually have different combos when you execute them. For instance, the Gun Lance doesn't have the same standard XXX pokes it used to have. Now it performs more akin to a lance. But I recommend really using this style if you want to put big damage onto a monster with your mix of combos and arts. Now the next art is the aerial art. Now this one is a lot of fun, I'll admit. This art right here allows you to vault off of monsters, teammates, small monsters, big monsters, or whatever. It replaces your forward roll with a hop, if you will. Granted, you still keep your side hops and your side rolls and things like that. Next is the Adept or Bushido art. Now this art is a very interesting one. For the most part, the standard attacks are roughly the same for all of the weapons in the class, but the main thing is that if you dodge right before a monster or anyone means you harm, you have an invincible roll. Check out slow-mo footage. Boom, completely get away from that, and you get to follow up with an attack. You're completely invincible when you do this. So if you remember Evasion 3 from 4 Ultimate, it's the same exact thing. Next to the hunting styles, the biggest draw to Monster Hunter Generations is without a doubt the Hunter arts. Everybody's been waiting on them, everybody likes to see them, and here we're going to talk about a couple. Now for starters, let's talk about the hunting arts in general. Now there are a grand total of 126 Hunter arts. Granted, these all fall in the tiers. You have 10 Hunter arts that are known as general hunting arts, and then you have 3 Hunter arts for every individual weapon. So all the way from Greatsword to Light Bowgun, everyone has 3 skills. Now within those 3 skills, you have 3 tiers of those skills. So each individual tier increases the potency of whatever skill that you're using. Now for the most part, each weapon has 1 buff art, 1 situational attack art, and 1 very strong attack art. And exactly what they sound like is exactly what they are. The buff art will in one way or another give your hunter a buff to whether it be your next attack or for a limited amount of time. Your situational art can be a particular art that will greatly benefit you or the rest of your party, depending for the most part on the situation which the monster is in or you yourself. And the great attack art will be an art that is actually exceedingly strong for a normal attack. For some, it could give the ability for Lance to have the strength of a level 3 Greatsword charge, or maybe even have the Insect Glaive do something very cool. You'll see later. Making their return, we have the Palicos. Now if you remember the Palico Cats, they were your feline companions that would heal you, buff you, whatever. But the cool thing about them this time is that now you actually get to play as one. That is correct, you actually get to play as a Palico Cat. Their attacks and everything are just the same as what your standard Palicos could do. The only difference is that you're actually controlling them. Now they have a whole multitude of attacks that they can do that change from over the course of Monster Hunter's history. And on top of that, they have particular skills. Now the skills that they had back in 4 Ultimate, they make a return here, as well as a multitude of other skills. Another thing that Palico Cats are very good at is that they have unlimited gathering supplies, meaning pickaxes, bug nets, you don't need to bring them. They have infinite of their own, so if you're gonna go out on a gathering quest, go as a Palico Cat, because you don't need to bring pickaxes or anything like that. Another thing that's unique to the Palicos is that they have their own quests. Now, in these quests, they do actually get to fight, real monsters. I mean, I was just fighting a bullfang a while ago, and I'm fighting you again here. Granted, though, this quest right here, to actually complete it correctly, all I have to do is break the Urigan's chin. Now, some of the quests are similar to that. You'll fight a full-fledged monster, but you're only tasked with breaking or doing a particular thing, and that's cool. That's fine. And if you don't want to do that, you can totally go and fight standard fights all by yourself. Now, another thing that is interesting to the Palicos is that they have technically 9 lives. They can cart a total of 9 times before they are actually able to lose the quest. When you do lose all your health, your Palico will do his little dance, fall on the ground, he'll pull an acorn out and he'll eat it. You get 2 acorns per cart, so for a grand total of 9 altogether. Regardless though, hope you guys really are going to play more with the Palico, because the Palicos are a lot of fun and I definitely recommend playing as one. Now if you were to ask me what is the next best thing next to fighting the monsters in Monster Hunter, it is the locations. That is correct. We have 21 locations in Monster Hunter Generations. You have places that you haven't seen since Freedom, or a place you haven't seen since Freedom Unite. There will be places that haven't made a return in forever that are actually going to be in here. So that's a really good thing. So if you are a Generation 3, Generation 4 kind of person, you'll actually be able to go to these places in which that we all covet and hold near and dear to our hearts. On top of going to these old locations, you'll actually have the ability to go check out these old villages. That's correct. You get to go to Poke Village, you get to go to Kotoro Village. I'm blowing these names up, but if you've never been in these locations, check them out. I mean, they function very similar to the main village, but if you go to these locations, you'll meet up with old characters that you've seen in prior Monster Hunter games, and you can talk to them, and they might give you a particular quest in which you can actually go out on and help out on some village requests. On top of that, if you go to the main village, it's called Burma, I think, you will actually have access to the farm. That's right, it's kind of a new thing, kind of an old thing, but the farm is back, so heck yeah. Okay, since we talked about all these things that are in this game, let's talk about a couple of things that aren't in the game, things that never actually came back. Starting off the top right here, one of my #1 favorite features in the entire galaxy, beyond all Monster Hunter games combined all together, my #1 favorite feature in Monster Hunter to date is without a doubt the swimming. It will not be making a return, unfortunately. Another thing that will not be making a return is in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, you had the ability to hone weapons for attack, defense, or life. That will not be making a return. Guild quests from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, those will also not be making a return. People used to farm those things to get OP weapons, those aren't coming back either. Apex and Frenzy monsters will also not be making a return. Granted though, there's this new type of monster that's just known as Ferocious. All the difference that is with them and standard monsters that they have spots on their bodies that if you attack them, your Hunter Arch will charge faster, and they have certain monster parts that's particular to them, but that's about it. Alright guys, that's everything from me today. If you want me to go back over some stuff or I missed anything, just let me know. But with that being said, I'll see you all in Monster Hunter Generations. Take care everyone.